Hello, everybody. It is Monday. Who's joining us on this Monday night? Angela, great to have you in here first. Pasadena in the house. Number 2, Pasadena. Kristen, how are you? Howdy, Kelly. Oh, it's Kelly. See, I don't know why I thought it was Kristen, but it's Kelly. I saw double K's there. I don't know why. It's the way the mind works some nights. Hey, Adele and Dazzle. Kitty's with us. There's Kristen. Mellow Monday. Quite a Monday, even. Cass in Naperville. Naperville, Illinois. Good to have you with us. I'm trying to remember who I used to work with in Naperville. Pharmacy I used to consult with. It'll come to me, Kath. Probably in the middle of the night. I'll message you. It'll come to me. Trying to remember who I worked with there. Kristen is here too. See, everybody's here. It's a good Monday. Everybody's here. Tell me what we're grateful for this Monday night, besides that everybody's here. We just had a beautiful sunset here in Connecticut, which is wonderful. Hey, Rick, how are you? Good to have you with us. What are we all grateful for this Monday night? Mellow Monday, as it is being so called. Mellow. He's feeling mellow Monday. Good sales today. Yeah, we did too, Kitty. Hey, I want tacos. I love, Kelly, I love when a food truck is able to grow to a restaurant. We had a Mexican restaurant down in Florida, where we used to go in Florida every year when Rebecca was younger and we were able to pull her out of school for weeks at a time. And they started in the farmer's market. So we used to go and get their tamales and their tacos and everything at the farmer's market on Saturdays because we would go away for a few weeks at a time. It was great, and it was really wonderful. And then they grew into a restaurant, and then the awful hurricanes really killed them in their restaurant. But it was really phenomenal. I mean, and they were authentic Mexican and spent all this time in Mexico working on their tequila recipes. It was a steady Monday, I mean, Jen and you, grateful for the USPS. If you are together at this hour, Molly, well, it's a couple hours early. Well, it doesn't matter in Steamboat. I'm guessing drinking. Hey, Jennifer. Cheers to you, Molly and Jen, and the USPS. Yes, I am grateful to the USPS as well. We have a lot of packages going out. Well, you went down southern Florida. I went northern. So we have a lot of packages going out tomorrow in the Postal Service picking up. Pam will be there to pick them up. And we have more orders coming in tonight. So also thankful for online sales. So this is... and this is part of building your pipeline because, again, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. We don't know, and this is just building another business. So anything that you're shipping is people that would not walk in your store. So that is a good thing. I'm proud of you and Jen, Molly. Very, very good. Hey! Ignore the expiration date if it's gone bad already, Rick. They are always good. Throw it in the freezer. They're that is a nice find. But I can understand with all the things your wife cooks, you not getting to that peanut butter cup. I mean, with all the things your wife makes, I mean, I was very blessed when I was at your store to be there on staff meeting day and catch all of your wife's cooking. I mean, I just kept on going back to it all day. You're very lucky. Cassandra Abramson is tuning in. How about that? She's usually just in the peanut gallery, but she had a staff meeting tonight. So there you go. They had wings. Well, wait till it cools down a little bit, Kristen, and then we'll send you some peanut butter cups. Happy to. After my shipping to Kitty fiasco where they were melted and she had to reconstitute them, let's wait on shipping those. But they are phenomenal, and the family and their story is phenomenal. Erin Calvo-Bacchi and her husband Carlo, they're just phenomenal people. They're just, and that's, those are the kinds of people I like to do business with in the first place. But Erin is a phenomenal business advocate. Her and I are on the same page on a lot of advocacy efforts. So it is a pleasure to have them. I'm also going to wait until you see this week. If I can get myself to a BJ's this week, I'm going to have another food choice for you guys from a friend of mine that got their food into BJ's. And I'm so excited to share it. So I hope to have some of those this week because I've been working with this friend for so long, and side by side, I'm just so excited for them. This is a true growth for her company, and she's just awesome. So I'm excited about that, and I hope to get to BJ's and do a shelfie, and then I can bring her food right on here on the show and talk about it because it is really awesome. And for our Mellow Monday, this is perfect for Mellow Monday. We are opening in the Good Morning, Good Night book, how we get this program started. The Good Morning, Good Night book. We're on page 98. If you follow along in the book, we're on page 98 tonight. Good morning. Put some music in someone else's life today. Make the world a mixtape and see what it gives you in the return. That's perfect for Mellow Monday. That's actually one of my side goals, okay? For those of you that don't know, some of my weird goals in life, one of my weird goals is to make the Coke commercial, I'd like to buy the world a Coke, and teach them perfect harmony or something. I'd like to make that song true. I'd like to buy the world a Coke. So that is one of my weird goals in life, to make that song true, so that we can all sing in perfect harmony, even though we know that I can't sing. But wouldn't it be awesome to buy the world a Coke and get people? I mean, you could grow that. I mean, that's just a promotional thing. That's, you get the radio station over here and over there, and you get this company in Sydney to sponsor it. You get all these people to sponsor it, and we all buy the world a Coke. I mean, to just bring people together. I mean, that's all that song is about bringing people together. And in today's world, we can buy the world a Coke, and it would bring the world together. I mean, if we could buy Congress a Coke, it would bring us closer together. Hey, Kim, how are you tonight? I haven't followed the weather. I know you're all prepared. I haven't followed any news, actually, but I know you're prepared should the weather be hitting you. So I am glad for that, but I know it's not hitting Jennifer, but I know it's hitting somewhere between where Jennifer is in Naples and where you are in Houston. That's what I know. But I have no idea other than that. I hope everyone is safe. Let's see what I got for you here tonight. Well, I guess this is a perfect quote as we talk about storms. In order to realize the worth of an anchor, we need to feel the stress of a storm. In order to feel the worth of the anchor, we need to feel the stress of the storm. But think about that. Digest that one for a little bit. That one's a little deep. Well, I know you've been through this too many times, and I know you'll get through it. I know you will persevere, and we will be there by your side, persevering with you in whatever happens. Lots of stuff happening this Monday, so let's talk about it. More retailers are giving employees time to vote. Retailers once limited their acknowledgement of an election cycle to vote merchandise, if they addressed it at all. Now a growing number of businesses are entering the conversation by encouraging higher voter turnout among their workers. Walmart, Nike, J.Crew, Warby Parker are a sample of retail brands that joined the Time to Vote coalition this year. It's a nonpartisan pledge to do exactly what it says. Give employees time off to cast their ballots. Time to Vote launched ahead of the 2018 midterm elections with Patagonia, Levi Strauss, and PayPal as its founding members. 400 plus businesses joined that year. Patagonia said that 700 businesses are now Time to Vote members. The end goal is first, a business culture that prioritizes civic duty. Second, 1,000 member companies by election day. Making retail count. Only 56% of Americans who were eligible to vote cast a ballot in the 2016 election per the Pew Research Institute, which is lower than in most developed nations. So retailers are a significant addition to Time to Vote. Retail employs roughly 1 in 4 Americans in stores, fulfillment centers, and corporate offices, making it the biggest private sector employer in the U.S. Yes, you are part of the biggest private sector employer in the United States. For companies that join the campaign, there's no prescriptive voting plan. We realized early on that what works for Patagonia is not going to work for Walmart. What works for Walmart is not going to work for Lyft, and so on. So retailers have varied their approaches. Some brands are closing stores entirely, like Patagonia, while others are shortening operating hours, Best Buy, or offering 3 paid hours to vote, which is what Walmart is doing. At corporate, brands are considering meeting-free days, which is what Nike is doing, or full days off, which is what J.Crew is doing. Pandemic has certainly raised concerns about crowding at the polls, so brands are also teaching employees about absentee and mail-in voting. Supporting voters is yet another way brands are addressing recent calls to do business with more than profits in mind. Your CEO or your company reminding you to vote is going to hit your inbox in a different way than an email from a campaign or an advocacy group. Those efforts could build trust with employees. From the outside, consumers are increasingly loyal to brands that take a strong stance around the issues that resonate with them, including voting. When brands balance profits with advocacy, that's how they drive growth, strengthen their brand, and keep their people inspired and engaged. Hey, Patty, great to have you here. Never worry about being late. We're grateful you tuned in. So, encouraging people to vote is important. Okay, reminding that you can't tell them how to vote. Okay, that violates lots of laws. Okay, but reminding people the importance of voting is important. One of my favorite voting stories, and this goes back a long time, keeping in mind I am the oops baby. Okay, I am the oops baby of 4. So my brothers and sisters are a lot older than me. But back in the day, you know, I remember when Mr. Case came knocking on the door. Mr. Case was one of our neighbors. Hey, in Nebraska, Angie, how are you? Mr. Case came knocking at the door looking for my older brother, Chuck. and Mr. Case had in his hand a voter registration card. And he brought it to Chuck, informing him he checked the wrong box of his party affiliation. And Mr. Case was giving him an opportunity to correct that and file the right one. Now that goes back a long time, and that was a different time in America, on Main Street, and on everything else. But I love that story of old-time American voting, or local, because local matters. I'm going to cover some local stuff later on tonight in the show. But I love that story about voting. More importantly than anything, that didn't change what my brother Chuck did at the polls. But the most important thing we do is actually vote. So I encourage you to vote. Actually, this September, starting September 1st, September 2nd, you'll be able to vote in the NARTS election. And that's important. That frames this board. I, as the current president of NARTS, am just a caretaker. I am a caretaker of this association. I am blessed to serve in this role for a period of time. My time as president is coming up. I've been honored to serve this association, to be the first man to ever serve as president in this association. But your vote matters. The fact that you take the time to vote, when the ballots come out, please take the time. So many people this year. I'm thrilled, in a pandemic even, that we have 5 people running this year. I am beyond thrilled by that have stepped up to serve their association, to serve their industry. So it's important in our industry, it's important in your community, and it's important in our nation that you take the time to vote. Your vote does matter, okay? I can't stress enough. Having spent all the time I have with people in Washington, your vote matters. Your voice really does matter. I've even heard couples say, well, our votes cancel each other out. I always vote Democrat, and I always vote Republican, and ours cancel each other out. No, it goes into the broader coalition, and it matters. It's when you step into that voting box, or you take that absentee ballot, and you check that box, and you sign it off, and you send it in, it matters. So I applaud these big companies giving their employees time to vote. Our employee handbook doesn't give paid time off, but it does give up to 3 hours for voting. Allows for 3 hours of time for voting, and it's important. So don't forget to do that. And one other off-topic, well, not off-topic, funny voting story. So my best friend works for Sony Broadcast Systems, and he does the big production systems for the stadiums and for everything. And it's coincidental, but wherever he is, okay, if he happens to be working at a individual stadium, it doesn't matter what the team is, that team loses that night. Okay, it just always tends to work that way. The home team of whoever stadium he's working on their broadcast system that night loses. And it has nothing to do with his work on the broadcast, it's just coincidence. It's happened enough times that I've just picked on him for it. And so in 2016, he got assigned this thing in New York City. He didn't know why he was going to the Javits Center and everything else, and he had to go through all this extra security and get all these clearances and everything else. And I'm like, you didn't know why you're going to the Javits? And he's like, no, they asked me to go and run these systems and everything else. And I'm like, well, that's where Hillary's having her party. That's where she's having her acceptance party. He didn't know that that's where that was happening. And so the outcome of the election, send him wherever you want to go. Send my buddy, Don. Okay, now I'm moving off elections. Now I've digested way too much. I've probably lost 20 viewers on this already. Watch out, Amazon and Walmart. Okay, watch out, Amazon and Walmart. How do you start an article with that? And who the heck should they watch out for? Inquiring minds want to know, do they? Kroger is coming. The Kroger is coming. And Kroger does a great job in their grocery stores. They really do. In most of their grocery stores, I mean, we can always find a market for everybody that where their Kroger is awful. But Kroger does a great job. I remember Krogering when I was visiting my sister down south, my much older sister. But they are taking from Amazon's playbook, okay, and they're positioning itself to become a major retail technology platform, which Amazon and Walmart already have, okay? Amazon is a technology company at heart. Yes, they sell lots of stuff and they ship lots of stuff. They don't own most of it, okay? They're mostly a technology platform and a service provider. And that is what Kroger is positioning itself. Kroger has operated its 84.51 degree proprietary data center since 2015, parallel to the Walmart Labs and Amazon Labs 126 in-house innovation organizations. But Kroger is pushing into retail technology territory where Amazon and Walmart have already planted flags, such as online marketplaces. Kroger has taken a step into wider competition with Amazon and Walmart in the integration of a growing digital marketplace platform, Miracle, M-I-R-A-K-L, into its Kroger Ship-to-Home program. The retail will offer Kroger shipped customers an extended aisle with more than 50,000 additional products. Kroger Ship delivers private label and center aisle groceries, household essentials, and bulk merchandise through third-party carriers. Additional goods will be offered across multiple categories, including natural and organic, international food, specialty items, housewares, and toys. And they will have a full third-party assortment in the fall of 2020. The company's digital marketplace will still be significantly smaller than those offered by Amazon and Walmart, but this could be the start of something much bigger. So, and they're setting up several programs to open its customer base to CPG advertisers. These include an offering that lets companies strategically target in-store customers at specific times with audio ads, a service to provide brand advertisers with closed-loop sales data from Kroger to leverage in campaigns across multi-platform media and shopper data. So Kroger is making progress there. So, and their fulfillment center, which this isn't a good picture for you guys probably, but it looks very Amazon similar. So they are making progress, and it's smart. So I mean, if you look at what Amazon is, there was that time where everybody thought they were a book company, and they were never a book company. Yes, they sold lots of books, but it's about these platforms. It's about cross-selling on cross-platforms. How many platforms can you offer your items on? And that's part of your store growth potential as well. So that's something very specific you can learn from this and from what they're doing. Kroger's headquarters, it doesn't cite it in this article. I believe they're in the South. Well, are they in the Midwest? I forget, actually, Kath. I'll see if I can find out for you. I actually forget. Peanut Gallery. Can you look up where Kroger headquarters is? I have my Peanut Gallery on it, Kath. I will get you an answer to that. This is an article that I say is, the U.S. recession is likely to end late 2020 or 2021 or 2022 or 2020, the article is citing economists. So an economist end to a recession versus a you end to the recession is very different, okay? Although an economist end, so why is an economist end important? An economist end to a recession is important, okay, both because it's a very statistical model. My peanut gallery has posted, Kath. It is in Atlanta. I thought it was in the South. Yeah. It's in Cincinnati. My other peanut gallery says Cincinnati. I thought it was Cincinnati. I thought it was Ohio. Cincinnati is where Kroger's headquarters is. They have a big center in the South, but their main thing is in Cincinnati. Cites my my office over here, peanut gallery. Who's actually on a computer? Who's actually over there? Versus my peanut gallery that's not even. Well, you want to get an argument with your peanut gallery? I got lots of other things for you to argue with them on. Okay. So let's talk about recession and the statistical terms of recession and when it ends. And, well, that's at distribution centers in Georgia. They have distribution centers in lots of places. Their corporate is in Cincinnati. Right. That's just like Lego corporate is in Connecticut, also right here. And their distribution center is in Illinois because it makes it easy for shipping. Okay, and you can't always trust Google. That's just what I'm saying. Okay, but it's good that everybody's tuning in tonight. Okay, so 2/3 of economists said the economy's still in a recession that started in February, while nearly 80% indicated that there's at least a 1 in 4 chance of a double dip recession. Okay, 40% of economists rate the fiscal response by Congress as insufficient. 37% said it was adequate. And they rate what the Federal Reserve is doing as about right. Okay, so while the economists saying that a recession will end in late 2020 or in 2021, you know, most people are saying in their pocket it won't feel like it till later than that. But let's talk about reality. Why does it matter when economists say it ends? Okay, it's a very technical term of when it ends. Okay, about growth and such. But why it matters is because it deals with consumer sentiment, okay, and how consumers feel about the economy. Because the economy is part reality and part psychological. And the psychological part matters a whole heck of a lot more than the reality. Because if people are feeling good about it, okay, the prospects for jobs and other things, they will spend even if they don't have the money. They will spend on credit. They will buy things, okay? If the news media and other economists are negative on the economy, people will hold back. People will save. People will pay down debt. So the psychological effect of it really does matter. So, you know, I don't know when I think the actual technical, if you're asking Neil, what does Neil think? Neil thinks that the technical recession will end sooner than the feeling of the recession ends. How's that? Or the feeling of the uncertainty ends. Right. There's so many people that have said 10 years or whatever. I mean, I don't think it's going to be that long for our industry, for the resale industry, but lots of people watch this broadcast that aren't in resale. You know, certainly travel and tourism is going to take a longer time if people want to get out there, although this peanut gallery is going to Disney World in October, so there you go. Thanksgiving. We talked about that a little bit last week, okay? But have you thought about how Macys has thought about Thanksgiving? Macys is contemplating how to put on its signature Thanksgiving Day parade in light of the ongoing social distancing requirements forced by the pandemic. We're working closely with our partners the City of New York to reimagine the Thanksgiving Day Parade in a similar fashion to our safe and successful production of this year's Macy's 4th of July fireworks. We expect to share details of the holiday production in early fall. The department store scaled back its 4th of July fireworks, which I thought they did a fantastic job, in order to accommodate restrictions. And so we'll have to see where that goes. But I'm glad that they're still trying to bring it on in some way, because it's part of Thanksgiving morning. And that kind of normalcy is part of what you need. Part of whatever all of America needs. Actually, the world. I mean, that gets a worldwide audience. You know, I'd love to see it from one of the box seats someday. I'm not one of those people that's going to sit in one of the cages, but I would love to see it from one of the box seats. We have a customer of ours that that carries one of the floats every year, and has for years. She actually, was it last year or the year before, broke her ankle doing it? Or right after it. Not doing it, but right after it. But she does a float every year, and has for like 20 years. That's more than I would love to be in the excitement of it, but I want to be in like the Macy's box on there, and or the overhang from the hotel, one of the hotels. Let's see, what else do I got for you? Oh, I got a few other things here. This is some good stuff. I got some good stuff here tonight. Impatient landlords say no way to giving Ascena a break on rent. Landlords who rent space to the bankrupt owner of Ann Taylor and Lane Bryant are objecting to its request for a 2-month deferral on rent payments. A group of Ascena landlords said in court papers Wednesday that a deferral isn't reasonable because most of the company's stores are operating despite the pandemic. Ascena, which also owns The Loft, Catherine's, and Justice clothing chains, asked for the deferral last month, saying the pandemic had forced it to temporarily close all its stores and created ongoing business uncertainty. The landlords have argued that Ascena's request implies it doesn't intend to pay rent and will use the deferral period to seek lease concessions. A hearing is scheduled for 2 days from now. Other national retailers have sought to lower the lease payments and open negotiation with the landlords as the pandemic forced temporary store closures and depressed foot traffic. In June, Gap said the firm was in talks with landlords and was paying what it considered fair rent as it reopened locations. Bed Bath & Beyond also deferred some lease payments, and clothing retailer Guess suspended rent remittance in April and began negotiations with landlords as it planned other store closures. It's harder for these landlords when it's already in bankruptcy, so that is why they're fighting it, because the company is already in bankruptcy proceedings, so if they don't fight it, it creates other issues. I am seeing nationwide, as I've worked with many of you nationwide, I have seen a lot of rent concessions in areas, especially areas that have been medium to hard hit, okay? Some areas of the South have been a little less generous with it, but a lot of areas of the country, the landlords, the good landlords have been good partners in this. And so I'm seeing a lot of rent reductions moving forward, and certainly something we'll talk more about moving forward. Who is the first major luxury label to release face masks? Who? Authentic luxury face masks from your friends at, any guesses? Any guesses on this? Before I tell you, anybody got a good guess of who is the first major luxury label set to release face masks? Or any guess on how much these face masks cost? No guesses? Or are you guys all behind me? I'm seeing no guesses. the guesses are starting to come in. They're all wrong, but the guesses are starting to come in. Gucci, Louis Vuitton, St. John. No, you are all wrong. The Burberry. Maybe it's too low a class for you. Okay, but they are the first major luxury label set to release face masks. The British Heritage label became the first major luxury fashion label to create a collection of face coverings amid the pandemic. The reusable masks, which features the brand's famed Novacek pattern, come in two colorways, the signature beige and pale blue. Each item costs about $118 and is sold with a matching travel pouch for your face mask. Who would have thought? That's like a twofer. You get the face mask and the pouch. That's like two. And there you got a graphic in both colors. Ah, I like that, Rose. You're smart. You're good there, Rose. Okay, I got two more things for you tonight. It's getting late, and I got to go check on Nana. I'm on Nana duty. I got her all propped up. I got her fed, and, well, I got her to the bathroom and stuff. I'm giving too much information, but I'm on Nana duty. Okay, so if you were going into outer space, what would you pack? That's a real question. If you were set to go into outer space, what would you pack? So astronauts, historically, this is true. You think I find all this stuff, okay, or make this stuff up. I'm not that creative, people. I am not that creative. Okay? Astronauts are allowed to pack 2 pounds of personal items. 2 pounds! 2 pounds! Okay, of personal items to take with them into space. Okay, starting way back when in the Apollo series. This is what they were allowed. You can bring 2 pounds of stuff with you to go beyond the heavens. What would you pack? That's great, Rose. That's a great value at $12. We've bought masks. We've been staying away, and mainly we've stayed away from any of the handmade masks, although there have been plenty of great ones out there, mainly because of our start in kids. And there's so many restrictions on fabrics and CPSC things that we've only been buying masks manufactured. But we've been so freaking busy, we haven't gotten. I've got a box of them sitting on my desk in the warehouse. Yeah, I know. People are buying them like crazy. The kid masks are especially exciting because there are not a lot of people making kid masks. So even if you're a lady store, if you can carry some kid masks, it is worthwhile because so many of the places are not carrying that. But what would you take to space? I mean, they already have a mask, so they don't need a mask to go to space. What would you take to space in your 2 pounds? That's your baggage allowance. You know, you remember when we could fly? That's awesome, Rose. I love that they're making them for that. Okay. What would you take? What would be in your 2 pounds if you were going to space? Okay, and I have some of what historically has gone up. I just loved this article that was talking about things. Ice cream, space diapers. I had lunch with an astronaut once, and one of the things I asked, okay, because they were like, you know, you could ask the astronaut anything. We paid, you know, we spent all this money to have lunch with an astronaut. And one of the things I asked, okay, And you know, part of this is stupid guy. Part of this is just whatever. Okay. I said, you know, was there any food that you ate in space that you said, gee whiz, honey, when you got home, I really love this. Could you make me this? And the astronaut responded something about being married long enough to not say something that stupid. Well, your computer probably weighs more than 2 pounds, Rose, so you're not going to be able to take that. And you're only going to be able to take one book probably, maybe two, and you're going to be at the 2 pounds. A camera, you might be able to take a camera, Rose, Kim. Ice cream, you know, that's where Dippin' Dots, you know, got its, well, Dippin' Dots wasn't founded at NASA, but NASA is what made it. When they started branding Dippin' Dots as the ice cream from space, when they sold it at NASA and they branded it as, you know, the ice cream of the future or whatever, that's when Dippin' Dots started taking off. Oh, that mandarin orange cake, that's good. Well, here's some things that real astronauts took to space as part of their 2 pounds. Okay? Apollo 9 astronaut Rusty took a pile of quote cards. Among them was this quote: "For in the long run, those who change history are not those who supply a new set of answers, but those who allow a new set of questions." Think about that. For in the long run, those who change history are not those who supply a new set of answers, but those who allow a new set of questions. What new set of questions are you allowing in your store? What new set of questions are you allowing in your next staff meeting? What new set of questions? Okay, it's not about having all the answers. I mean, it's one of my career epiphanies, okay? And I've talked about them before. Okay, you know, that salesman that I worked with at this computer company, okay, who knew nothing about computers, but surrounded himself with people that did. Okay, it's not about knowing all the answers. It's about asking questions, challenging your team. Okay, I'm the guy that holds up a white shirt and says, does it go with this? Okay, it is not about knowing it all. Okay, Alan Shepard had a 6-iron to play golf on the moon, and the 2 golf balls he hit are still up there. And our buddy James Lovell had a nip of brandy, okay, that he took with him as part of his 2 pounds. Okay, 2 pounds is all you get as your baggage. I mean, 50 pounds on an airplane, 2 pounds going to space. Sure thing, Rose. I'm happy to repeat that because I think this quote is awesome. For in the long run, those who change history are not those who supply a new set of answers, but those who allow a new set of questions. That quote actually, while Rusty took that as part of his quote cards, he had a deck of them, okay, and I have a picture of his deck of quote cards there, okay, but that is from Bishop John A.J. Robinson, and it is a great quote, okay, because it's true, okay. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to have the questions. Ask the questions and be open to the responses you get. Don't be closed-minded. Don't think you know it all. I am the last person on earth that thinks I know it all. Okay? I love it. I love that you use that. Okay? It is about asking the questions. Okay? I mean, sometimes my team picks on me like I'm that person in that TV ad that I'm just monitoring the situation. I'm just asking, I'm monitoring, you know, but I'm inquiring, okay? I don't have to have the answer to it, okay? And even as I was meeting with one of my managers today, it was like, even when I have the right way to do something, and I can tell you what the right way to say it, what to do, how you need to respond to it. I am not always the right person to deliver that response. And that's okay. The way I deliver my delivery, you either love me or hate me. There's no money in the middle. But I am not always the right person to deliver the message, and that's okay. That is okay. So last for you tonight, or second to last, I guess, is just to talk about the extra unemployment insurance. So people were getting the extra $600. Wow, Rose, I gotta go check out your page. I honestly have not been much on Facebook, so I have been so far behind on things. Responding to anything online, I haven't been able to do it, but I love that you use that, because it's true. And you're in Florida, and that was something I directly used with Marco Rubio, and it's something I directly used with Congressman Neal. And these things are important. This is part of the story that we're telling here, and it's important to tell the story. So you have to be in the room. You have to get the story across. And people relate to that. People do relate to that. So I will check that out later. So I wanted to update the, we've talked about it briefly before. The extra $600 ended at the end of July. Then Congress did nothing to extend that. And then the president signed an executive order saying, hey, give these people $400. Well, that's really $300, and it really wasn't. It is, but it isn't a real $300. So as long as you're earning $100 in unemployment and your state opts in, you can get an extra $300 in unemployment benefits. So, and this money is coming from FEMA's disaster assistance money, unless Congress then goes back and authorizes something else. So, and this goes back to August 1st. So in states that have authorized this, you're getting an extra $300 in unemployment assistance a week. And it's coming out of FEMA funds, and this is legit, and it is happening. And it is scheduled to one of two things. It is scheduled to go through, December 27th? December 27th, or when FEMA spends $44 billion, or if Congress authorizes something different. So those are your conditions. Till December 27th, or if Congress authorizes something different, or if FEMA blows through $44 billion, whichever comes first. So and the states have to apply. So what the important part is the states that have applied for this. Okay, and it's only for employees who are getting at least $100 unemployment assistance before the extra. Not all employees qualify. Whereas under the $600, people earning $50 a week in unemployment got it. You have to earn $100 in state unemployment benefits to get this. So here are the states that are eligible for this. Pennsylvania, Washington, New Hampshire, New York, Alaska, Georgia, Vermont, Mississippi, Tennessee, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Alabama, California, Indiana, North Carolina, Texas, Kentucky, Michigan, Maryland, Idaho, Oklahoma, Montana, Colorado, Missouri, and Utah, and Arizona, Iowa, Louisiana, and New Mexico. Those last four were the first states to get it. So those states are getting it back to August 1st, and it's coming out of FEMA money. per the executive order from the president. So that is happening, but only in those states that I mentioned. So not all states are getting it. Not all states have asked for it. It is a state-by-state basis. So there you go. That is the latest on that. And let's see if I got one more quote for you. Hang on. Let's open Vina's book, Everyday Courage. Well, Florida's got enough freaking problems, Rose. Nothing personal. Let's see. We are on August 24th. Let's open Vina's book to August 24th. To dare. So here's another quote for you, Rose. To dare is to lose one's footing momentarily. To not dare is to lose oneself. To dare is to lose one's footing momentarily. To not dare is to lose oneself. And I actually, because it's on the page next to it, I got to read this. A hero is no braver than an ordinary man, but he is braver 5 minutes longer. Ladies and gentlemen, to continue Jerry's quote of last week, it's a good week to have a good week. Ladies and gentlemen, all of these videos, all the information I post, everything I talk about, goes over to narts.org/resalestrong, narts.org/resalestrong by noon the next day. It's there to keep you organized, to make it simple, because not everybody can tune in at more 8 than ish Eastern every night to catch it, okay, live. So it's there for you. But it's also there so you share it with everybody in your community. Why everybody in your community? Because I know lots of non-resale stores, because we want to keep everybody in your community. And this is part of the way to do it. I don't just help resale stores, I help everybody. Butcher, baker, candlestick maker. We want to get everybody to the other side, and we're going to do it, people. We're going to do it. I am determined to bring them on our boat, ark. Do we have an ark at this point? 2 by 2 we will get through? I don't know, but we shall. We shall, people. So refer them to narts.org/resalestrong. I am here every night live at more 8 than ish Eastern every night. If you have a question in between, you just email me, Neil, Neil, at ECIstores.com. Neil at ECIstores.com. That is where you find me every night. Every night we start this program with the Good Morning, Good Night book by our friend Lin-Manuel Miranda. Lin-Manuel Miranda, you know, he should tune into this show. We could help him get across the finish line. Okay, but he inspires us with this book. We love this book. We randomly open the pages and find where we're at. Tonight we opened page 98 because we were having a mellow Monday, people said at the beginning of the program. And we said, and this was just perfect. This is like the universe finding our way, because I'm really not that good. Good morning. Put some music in someone else's life today. Make the world a mixtape and see what it gives you in return. Our good night tonight is good night. Put some music in your life. Yes, your life. Tonight, make yourself a mixtape and see where your heart goes. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Neil Abramson. I do like a good party, a wedding, a bar mitzvah even. We will party together again before you know it in person. But until then, know that I am here live every night at more 8 than ish. And until tomorrow night, know that you, and especially you, yes, you, yeah, I see you there watching. You are not alone running this store. It's time for me to check on Nana, everybody. Have a great night.